What's good, everybody on YouTube? This is your boy Akil McLeod back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about the future of reselling. So, this is definitely going to be a live video, and I usually do this every week around 1 o'clock on Sundays. Last week I did a live show on Wednesday, and right now I'm just trying to do a poll to see when is the best days to do live shows. So, for those of you that are interested in these live shows and gain some value from it, just chime in the chat. Let me know which days you prefer, whether Sundays or during the week. So that way I can, kind of just use that information and just make the best decision, and just so that I can cater to you guys as well. So like I said, I'm going to be talking about the future of reselling. I think this is kind of a popular topic right now. I've been seeing some other resellers talk about it on their channels, and I just wanted to, I guess, give my perspective, give some of you guys some encouragement out there as well. So definitely, somebody says, so definitely let me know, you guys' opinions on these live shows. Let me just see who's in the chat. We have Alex saying hello, what's good, what's good. Hustle and grind Calgary. Hey, what's good? How you doing? This is a great time. Okay, that's what's up. So the few people that's in the chat so far, it seems like you guys are enjoying this time. So we're definitely going to keep it going on Sundays around this time. So just to start things off, in terms of the future of reselling, I got about five main points that I think I wanted to address. And for the first point was mainly just, I think the future of reselling is definitely going to head into a positive direction, but I don't just see it being stuck online. I do see shows like, what was the name of this show? Slobby's World. I've been seeing other YouTube shows like Round Two, and these people have retail stores, actual physical locations where people go in and they shop, and it builds the experience for a lot of shoppers as well. So I do think that's the future of reselling as we know it. I do think there's going to be more and more locations like that. Other people are going to see places like Round Two and that store like Slobby's World. Slobby's World was a show on Netflix, and I believe they only had one season. They might be in the works for some more, but I watched the show and I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was somewhat informative. It gave me a better perspective on reselling in other cities as well. So I do think that it has potential. You know what I mean? So I do, and then plus there's places in LA where there's an entire strip of like high-end consignment shops, higher-end thrift stores, and they're not to say that they're popping up every day, but they're popping up way more than they were, say, 2 to 3 years ago. A lot of these stores are gaining inspiration from places like Round Two that has gained a lot of national exposure. And it doesn't, not to say it doesn't take much to open a physical location, but depending on your location within the country, um, opening a physical location, getting a warehouse, getting a storefront, that's definitely possible. Not so much in places like California where the rent is ridiculous, but I do think other places, maybe, in the middle of the country, places like that where the rent isn't as expensive, you guys can really take advantage of that. So I do think that that's a lot of potential for the future of reselling. And I haven't heard a lot of people talk about that, but that's just how I see it. Because of course, I think there's a value in having a physical location. I always believed in, just having a place like a meeting place, having a hub where people can just come in and meet the owner and actually, gain that one-on-one kind of customer service. And I do think that's something that online services lack. But in terms of retail, some people say retail is dying and retail is dead, but I do think it's all about tying in an actual experience and making it worthwhile to the buyer. And since reselling and secondhand clothing is becoming so popular nowadays, I do think that's probably going to be the next shift that we start to see. So let's see what people are talking about in the chat. Let's see if anybody agrees with me. If you agree, type it in the chat. If you disagree, let me know as well. But that's just my first point. That's where I think reselling is headed. Um, I binged it. I believe you're talking about that show. Hey, Akil, so much information of your videos, learning lots. New to Posh as of March. Lisa McLeod, that's my name. You might be family. Who knows? I got to check that show out. Never heard of it. Yup, Slob taught us that even vintage knockoff have a market. Absolutely. People love like those fake Gucci stuff, fake Louis stuff. Is definitely a market for that. Absolutely. Everybody's still saying, "Hey, what's up?" I've been watching your videos. Thank you. That's what's up. Keep watching. I got a lot of videos out, and I got some more on the way. uh People want to touch, feel, try on, etc. Absolutely, absolutely. That's the beauty of having a physical location. With online, with when you're reselling, especially vintage clothing, the sizes is always different. You can add measurements, but it's not the same as just walking in a store, trying it on, and if you don't enjoy it, you can put it back. And I think that's why stores like Crossroads, Buffalo Exchange, Plato's Closet, all of those stores that I do so much business with, I think that's why they're thriving and they're doing so well, because they still mark up prices a little higher than you would find it on eBay, but at the same time, it's the overall experience that you're kind of paying for. Um, Agree, people are agreeing. I do most of my shopping online now. Yeah, me too for the most part. Akil, have you reached almost 10K in past sales since November 18? Oh yeah, I way surpassed 10K in Poshmark sales. Not related. Retail space is crazy expensive up here in Minnesota. Absolutely. Absolutely. Retail spaces. I don't know what's going on with retail space. Retail space, living space is getting crazy. Rent is just way too high nowadays, basically everywhere you go. But there are some places like Texas where rent isn't as bad, and I do think it has some potential there for some stores to kind of pop up and create like a physical location, a physical store. Okay, so the next point that I had for you guys was that in terms of the future of reselling, there's a ton of resellers that pop up every day. They watch videos like mine where they may see me find something really crazy in the thrift store, and then they get inspired and they get excited. Well, they follow a ton of other reseller channels as well, where people pick up, a t-shirt or a pair of shoes for 10, $15, and they sell it for 150. A lot of people see these videos, and they're not necessarily resellers, but they're, just casual browsers of YouTube, and these stuff just pop up, and then they get inspired to do it. So I see an influx of resellers nowadays, but at the same time, there's so many people that used to resell, and they've stopped because they realize that reselling is a lot of work, and it's not a get rich quick scheme by any means. It's not a business where you can kind of jump in for 2 to 3 months, make a bunch of money, and leave. It's definitely more of a marathon. I like to say that all the time when it comes to business, but it's definitely more of a marathon. Excuse me. It's not a sprint by any means. It's not something that you can just watch a couple videos and then become a professional. You kind of got to learn as you go, and the longer you stick with it, the more you learn. Just like with anything else, but particularly with reselling, I think, especially if you're in the clothing market, I think it's a lot of hands-on experience that you need in order to really flourish in this business. So there's a ton of people that pop up every day, but then those same people that pop up, they within 3 to 6 months, they go away because they realize it's a lot of hard work. It's tough to maintain inventory. It's just so many different job job titles and just job experiences that come along. Like if I was to make a resume just based on what I do on a daily basis, it'll be like 10 pages long, because it's so many intricate details that's involved. So in terms of the future of reselling, I do think the longer you stick with it, the better you will become. And I think less and less people will be willing to stick around with it. So for those of you that have the wherewithal and the fortitude to kind of stick with it and give yourself maybe 2 to 3 years to build a solid foundation, those of you that have that mentality, you will do fine. But those that are looking to kind of make some extra money really, really quickly, and just that mentality, I don't see people really sticking around and doing well if you have that mindset. So that's something to consider. I think it's more so about thinking. uh I always talk about beating the competition, and there's tons and tons of competition right now with resellers. But for those of you that you have the wherewithal to kind of continue going on with whatever it is that you're trying to do, with whatever niche you're in, I think as long as you stick through, you'd be one of the few people that last. So let's go back in the chat, see what people are saying. People are agreeing. Had my first $2,500 pot sale today. That's amazing. 2,500. That's amazing. Congratulations on that. Um, Throw down the men's closet knowledge. Thanks, Nicole. Why would you open a store to reach only one city when you can open a store free and reach the entire world? I mean, that's a good point as well. I mean, that's honestly why I don't have a physical location. But I do think that's one of the things that we see that it works. You know what I mean? Depending in which city you're in, we see that it works. There's stores. We were just in my fiance and I were just in Newport Beach, and there are a couple stores out there similar to Buffalo Exchange, but just across the street there were some high-end consignment shops, more like a round two, and they're doing really well. You can tell that their racks are full. They had a ton of people in there. Their prices were pretty competitive, so they're definitely doing good business. And I really think it just depends on your location. If you're in an area where you have a lot of hipster people and a lot of fashionable people that are interested in fashion, you can do really well. So, like I said, at the end of the day, too, it's all about what it is that you're trying to do. Some people, they have that expendable income where they can put down a down payment and open a physical location and not necessarily need to recoup that money right away. Some people can say, okay, I'll invest this money, and by year 3 or year 5, I'll start to make a return. And some people go into business with that mentality, and a lot of those people, they're doing well. We're seeing it every day. We're seeing stores like Round Two that is extremely successful, getting a ton of coverage from Forbes and these other media outlets. So I do think it is a lot of potential there. Um, let's see. You have to have an interest what you're selling, otherwise. Somebody said they enjoy my honesty. So many YouTubers exaggerate what they are making net. Absolutely, people just try to make it seem glamorous. Everybody wants to look rich without actually being rich. That's all that is. Photography, accounting, sourcing, listing. Yes, resume would be very long. Absolutely. Trying to train an assistant in the business is insane. Yeah, I would love to get an assistant, but at this point, I don't think it's realistic for me. Um, I stopped watching a lot of resellers who are so uppity with their buying and make me feel like a loser because I'm glad to get those little sales. You just got to stick with it. Everybody is different. Everybody's model is completely different. I like to stick with, at least at the very very least, I like to double my money. But some people are completely happy with making a few cents on the dollar when it comes to a flip. And at the end of the day, money is money, right? So it all just depends on you, what access you have to different inventory, what access you have to not only inventory, but your home as well. If you have storage for a ton of inventory, you can buy a lot of stuff, as opposed to somebody that's living in a studio. You have a limited amount of access as well. So those are all different things to consider. Someone underneath says specialty kicks sell better on Posh or eBay. Specialty kicks, I think it's almost 50-50. A lot of people are more familiar with buying on eBay, so more people still shop on eBay. But Poshmark, their sneaker market, their sneaker section is growing. I think they even have a section called kicks, so they're trying to push their like shoe market a little more. So I think that's going to grow in the future. Someone says, if I sell on Amazon, no, not yet. Only on eBay and Poshmark for right now. Any advice on finding info/comps on official soccer jerseys? I use eBay to check comps and sometimes Poshmark for comps. Bugatti dress shirts. What do you think about the brand? Bugatti dress shirts don't sell that well. They used to, but it's one of those brands that kind of died down. Okay, so next thing, and I kind of stepped into this a little bit, but in terms of the online platforms, in terms of where I see the future of reselling, I do think apps like eBay is going to improve. eBay has been kind of slow to make changes and kind of slow to improve their platform, but after checking the last seller update, I'm seeing that they're moving in a positive direction. So if I was to give them the next 2 to 3 years, I do think eBay is going to improve drastically on their buyer experience as well as the seller experience. So I do think they're going to grow. They have a ton of potential. They're number 2 in terms of their in terms of a selling platform. Everybody knows Amazon is number 1, but eBay is a close second. Well, maybe not a close second, but they are second. So I do think they have that potential and that desire to kind of improve their services. So I do see in the future, maybe 2 to 3 years, eBay is going to really improve their platform. And if they don't, Somebody said this in my comment section one day, but if eBay doesn't improve, they're going to end up like a Blockbuster. And I don't think I think they have a lot of plans and a lot of aspirations. So I do think they're going to improve. In terms of Poshmark, however, I do think Poshmark, like I said, their market for sneakers is growing, and their men's market has grown maybe 20 times over the past year. And I do think Poshmark is going to be one of those platforms that are going to be huge very, very soon. I do think, I'm not going to say it might surpass eBay only because you can sell anything on eBay and Poshmark is still limited to clothing. But I do see Poshmark improving drastically in the next 2 to 3 years. I see a ton of people moving to that platform. People that used to sell on eBay, a lot of people are moving to Poshmark. People like myself, we sell on both platforms. So there's the buyer, there's a lot of growth for buyers and there's a lot of growth for sellers, because as we know, if you go on the Poshmark app to sell, you have a very, very high chance of buying something as well. So I do think if the buyer market is growing, the seller market is going to grow as well. And that's, I think, the direction that we're heading into. So for those of you that are interested in reselling, I think the time is now, because the sooner you get into it, the learning curve would be a little the reselling learning curve is pretty steep. It's going to take you a while to kind of become a pro at it. So the longer you do it, the more information you gather. I think if you jump in now, by the next 2 to 3 years, you can really gain some really good profits. But if you wait a little longer and the competition kind of grows and prices get a little out of control and it becomes a little harder to get inventory, it might be too late. Let's go back in the chat real quick, see if anybody's has any questions. Did you hear Poshmark is expanding to Canada? Yes, I did hear that Poshmark is expanding. I believe they've done it already, or they're in the plan, they're in the works to doing it. But I did hear about that, and I'm excited to see the growth, because I sell a lot of stuff on eBay to Canadian buyers. So I think those same buyers will be going on to Poshmark as well. And if we can still ship items internationally for $6.79, that's crazy. That's a game changer. So I'm excited about that. Really love selling on eBay. Yeah, I think eBay is the best. I agree. I sure wouldn't have known about Hoka 1-1 if I wasn't watching you. Well, I'm glad I was able to help, but Hoka's is not selling as crazy as it used to. I used to sell Hoka's like this. Now I'm selling Hoka's. Now I'm finding Hoka's less and less. I'm pretty sure there's probably people that work at these thrift stores in my area. They probably watch my videos and they probably keeping it for themselves, or they flipping it themselves. But I'm not finding them as like I used to. But if you guys can find them, keep doing it. I have had less luck on Poshmark. So many people wanting yard sale prices. Yeah, that's how it is. They're going to be lowballers every platform. If you sell in a physical location, you're going to get people that's going to ask you for a deal. If you're selling on eBay and you don't accept offers, you're still going to get a message from somebody still asking you for a deal. There's no way around it. That's just business. Don't forget to hit the like button, y'all. We got about 60 people in here. Hit the like button so YouTube can know that we're doing something good on this channel. People are interested. So hit the like button for me. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. Mario Dones like Jones. I think you just have to sell wherever you feel comfortable, different buyers and practices for different markets. Absolutely. And that's why I think I'm mainly focusing on eBay and Poshmark. I like those two platforms more. People like to sell on every platform available. Some people are selling on Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Amazon, and that's cool if you can. If you have help to do that, that's fine. That's amazing if you have help to do it. But for me, and I always tell people, if you're like a solo entrepreneur, stick to two platforms, and that way you can kind of maximize your get the most viewers and the most the most eyes on your inventory. That's the main thing. You want to have your stuff out there so that it has a higher chance to sell. But if you put it on too many platforms, chances of it selling on one platform and then you forget to take it off the other, it becomes a lot harder to manage. So that's always something to consider. We got some more people. Milton Glenn, what's up, bro? What's going on? Do you find men have different buying habits than women? Absolutely. Men are completely different when it comes to to buying. I think some guys, they just buy, they like what they like. They like the same brands, they like the same jeans, they like the same shirts, shoes, everything. So when we come across something we like, we're just gonna keep buying it. Women, on the other hand, for the most part, y'all are more fashionable. So once y'all done with a brand, y'all off with it. Y'all done a certain style. It's no longer trendy, it's no longer cool, and y'all done with it. But for guys, it's still guys wearing Rockaware. It's still guys wearing G Unit. I just sold some G Unit sneakers, so I just think it's a little different. But for the most part, I do think men are a lot different when it comes to buying from women. Men will buy you shoes all day. Women aren't as much into it. Yeah, men, we don't care as long as the shoes is clean or parts somewhat clean. We'll wear it. So the next thing that I had on my list, I said, is that I believe more apps are gonna come into play. I do think there's more platforms that's gonna start popping up. We're seeing an influx of local reselling apps like OfferUp and of course Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. But we're seeing I forgot that other one. Let Go is something. Somebody told me about Bonanza or something like that. We're definitely seeing an influx of like local reseller apps, but I do think we're going to start seeing more just other reselling apps because there's stuff like Grailed that's not as popular, but there are people on the platform that, so we do know that it's actually working. We do know that people are using Grailed. I don't necessarily use it, but we do know people are on there. There's of course Macari. We know people are on there. People are making tons of money on there. And anytime you see a platform where there's tons of people making money, other people are going to try to emulate those platforms, and there's tons of apps already, so we're always going to see more apps pop up, and they're just going to try to make small changes and improve upon the last app just a little better, and we're going to start seeing an influx of those. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we're always going to see Amazon and eBay and Facebook Marketplace, but I think we're going to start seeing a lot more apps. I'm pretty sure Poshmark will still be here in the next 3 to 5 years, but I do think we're going to see some more platforms pop up as well. So if you guys agree, chime in on the chat, because some people may agree, some people may disagree. I definitely do think there's going to be more. I was going to play devil's advocate, but I do think we're going to see some more. Because if I had the funds and I had the tech background, I would absolutely start an app, because I think reselling is so hype right now. Reselling is so popular that the more apps you have, the more avenues you have to sell. It's gonna keep working. I'd love to sell men only clothing. I still I still wear the same clothes that I had in high school. Bonanza is old, and you can actually link to your eBay with no work, auto crossless, but maybe just 1 or 2 sales a month. Oh, I had no clue about that. No clue about Bonanza. I think I heard about it from you guys actually. But yeah, so those are the 5 points that I had in terms of the future of reselling. All in all, I do think reselling is I don't think reselling is going anywhere. I don't see it as one of those here today, gone tomorrow type of situations. Reselling has been here forever, and it will continue to be, a honorable business and a business that people are going to be wanting to get into. I just think, like I said earlier, those of you that jump in now is a perfect time to do it. While before, just like anything else, the earlier you jump in, the more experience you get with it, the better off you'd be. Because, like I said, reselling isn't going anywhere, and it's definitely one of those businesses that has constant potential for growth. You can sell things from garage sales and thrift stores. You can do outlets. You can just do flea markets. I didn't even talk about flea markets, but I do think that's something where a lot of people are going to start heading into as well. Just people that may resell online, they might just try to get rid of a lot of their inventory and just start doing more flea market stuff. I see more people doing that, and I see more channels. More reseller channels of people that go to flea markets, and I wasn't seeing that as much, but I'm starting to see that a little more often as well. So I do think that's a possibility as well. So we've done 24 minutes. If you guys have any questions, drop it in the chat, and I'll stick around for a little bit more. But I just wanted to give you guys some inspiration, some encouragement. Those of you that's on the fence about reselling, just to let you know, go ahead and do it. You know, the time is now. And if you don't do it now, you'll be upset with yourself in the next 2 to 3 years, wishing that you started. So if you're on the fence, do it now. Start on Poshmark because it's easier, and then take your talents to eBay, and just continue to grow, continue to hustle. Flea markets are big in California, absolutely. I put an ad on Craigslist during the winter. Don't wait for garage sales. I buy clothes. That's a smart idea. Very, very smart. Everybody in every city should be doing something like that. That's a good idea. Honestly, I had an ad on Craigslist similar to that. The only problem was that people, they were lying. I would say I buy new and used clothing, and I would get messages from people saying, "Oh, I have a brand new jeans. I only washed it 2 times." So how is it new if you only washed it 2 times? Like, those type of stuff was just ridiculous. But if the ad is working for you, by all means keep it going. I know I took mine down because I was just tired of hearing people. I was tired of getting those type of messages because it was coming in like once or twice a week. But that's it. It worked. I've made some good connections, and I met some interesting people. But for the most part, I wasted more time than I actually made good business. So, all right, y'all. No questions in the chat. So I will definitely have a video for you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna do a what's old over the weekend video, and also I'm gonna upload some content on Patreon as well. So if you guys are interested in joining the Patreon, I have a link in the description below. And on that channel, on that page, I'm gonna be doing a lot more exclusive content, giving you guys some behind the scenes looks, and just giving some more similar information to what I do on YouTube. But for the most part, I do things on YouTube, do it for views, but I do it in terms of trying to reach the masses. And when you do, and with Patreon, it's more of like a focused group of people, and I'm just really trying to give value to that group. And if you guys have very specific questions, and you're just trying to get some individualized help for your Poshmark or eBay business, the Patreon group is for you, because that's where I'm doing closet reviews and just more one-on-one help. So if you guys are interested in that, join the Patreon. And I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm gonna drop maybe 4 or 5 videos this week. So just stay tuned for the channel. So I'll see you guys later. Peace.